Okay, guys, so I had to rush out of the shower to go ahead and be ready. As you know, Mondays are very, very crazy for me. When people call the firm right at the beginning of Monday at 9 a.m. and then try to get through, it's almost impossible. But the middle of Mondays, usually we can get people through on the phone right when they call in. But as you can see, lots of calls throughout the entire day. Let's get right to these questions right up front, specifically so you can kind of understand essentially which are the Social Security disability questions that judges ask, but they likely should not ask, in my opinion. I think some of them are immoral, but let's get right to them. Please remember to like, don't be stingy with the like finger, and please remember to subscribe, click the all button. Let's get into it. Okay, so the question is number one, that I don't think is right. I don't think it's an okay question. How many of your children are on SSI? Now, I've had a judge literally yell at me, right, for asking this question when I had a prior hearing right before that hearing where a judge specifically asked that question. And the point of it is, it's very simple. They're looking to see how many of the kids of a potential parent are on SSI benefits to see how much the parent is quasi gaming the system. Now, remember, the question in disability law is not how much is the parent trying to game the system by having their children on SSI benefits, because you could have all the children on SSI benefits because they're all severely impaired. The question is the child currently being reviewed for disability benefits due to severe impairments as a result of mental, physical, or blindness? And as a result of that, we look to essentially whether this child can do academia, whether or not the child has the potential for future work, whether they can do at-home tasks, chores, etc. We don't really look at so much, and we shouldn't be looking so much at how many children a mom might have that are on SSI benefits. I'm going to say something that some of you, it might be tough for you to conceive this in your brain, and that's okay. That's part of it. That's the whole reason for these education-based videos and understanding Social Security benefits. But here's the deal. Some parents, right, mother and father, whatever combination you want to do, because it's modern day. Some parents tend to have children that have genetic issues that equate to, impairments that show up over and over and over again. Okay, that just happens. So when you have, a mother and a father, and they have two children, then that mother is with somebody else, and they have two children. The second two children might have the same genetic issue, some blood helix issue, where basically, unfortunately, the children are disabled. They're severely impaired. So something about those two genetics just didn't work out to create a child that wouldn't have those impairments. So this is why I think this question is largely unethical or immoral for disability judges to ask. They do ask it, but some of them think it's a horrible question, and other ones are right up there to go ahead and ask it because they're trying to gauge how many kids of this mother are on SSI benefits. Is this mother not working because she's got enough of these kids on SSI, and that's the game they play. Now, you have to keep in mind with something else. When you look at these situations, there are sometimes terrible things that are occurring behind the scenes that I don't always know about. They don't always know about. The medical physicians don't always know about. Sometimes the mother will specifically poison their child, and then obviously the mother should be investigated. But the bottom line is, unfortunately, some children through genetic lineage will continue to have these issues. And we're finding out now that, and most people think, the physical things are something that you can inherit as a medical condition. But now we're learning that, depression, anxiety, these mental options, these mental actual medical conditions can be inherited as well. Okay. Now, to me, this question is largely moral, and it exists because a lot of single moms out there are basically being, beat up on by these disability judges when it comes to this question. So I guess what I would say with this whole situation is this. My question to you, and I guess you weigh in, you tell me, is it better that we have a single mom, whether or not she's with some guy on the side, right? Is it better or not if we have some single mom, under the definition of single mom, with kids that have an SSI check? Or is it better that the children not be given an SSI check and then essentially have to kind of like fend for themselves in this terrible economy produced by our politicians, equating to literally banks going bankrupt? And my point to you is, look, I am not totally against families getting an SSI check for their children if they're under a certain amount. I think $35,000 is too low. I think if families together, both spouses are earning like less than $65,000, I'm not against their kids getting essentially an SSI check and not having to be disabled. And here's why. Here's why. One of the big things America is very good at is essentially stomping out or trampling the future generations of great, brilliant thinkers from innovating new companies that will create new products that will make America this amazing place. Yeah, in America, we don't really have that anymore. What we have are giant corporations hiring people, burning them out, having massive student loans on their shoulders. They can't pay it off. And this rinse repeat situation where they can't get a house, they live in constant fear, so they don't have kids. And now we have mass immigration. The numbers are saying around 3.5 million, 1.5 million of those undocumented, which means illegal immigrants in the immediate sense, which is sad because they're just trying to, a lot of them get over here for whatever purpose, but a better life is, of course, the bottom line. So to me, I'm not totally against the idea of that, but you might be, you let me know your thoughts, because I think America's moving more and more towards this idea, this identity of people get a base check, a base living check. I think a good starting spot would be an SSI check for those children. And I know that those children already get, a check through Child and Family Services and things like that. But I think an SSI check would be more appropriate. Let's go to question number 2. Remember to like and subscribe. Here we go. Are you currently smoking cigarettes or any other tobacco-related products? Okay, so here's the thing that you need to realize with this situation, okay? Cigarettes, tobacco-related products, for the most part, are not illegal. They're just not illegal. But disability judges are more and more and more aggressive at denying people who are smokers because they don't want the disability benefits, they don't want the SSI benefits going towards cigarettes. Now, look, I get where they're coming from with this whole thing. I understand it. I get it. I really do get it. But to be fair, if somebody wants to buy cigarettes, okay, and that's like their thing, that's like their cheat, that's like their whatever, they're going to do it whether or not the government gives them disability benefits or not. I don't know if you've ever realized or seen homeless people or seen poor people, but if they have an alcohol problem, they're going to shake a can to fill their cup with alcohol. If they have a cigarette problem, they're going to shake a can to buy, a pack of smokes or a pack of cigars at the end of the day. So I just don't think this is an appropriate question that judges should be asking. They'll obviously see smoking in the record because they'll look at the medical documentation. The medical doctors will show, hey, this person's been smoking, for this many years, they're smoking this many per day, etc. Okay. All right. Next question. Let's go to it. Remember to like and subscribe. Would you be quitting these jobs if your spouse was not able to afford your upkeep? Well, I'm going to read it to you again. It's a little bit complex on this one. Would you be quitting these jobs if your spouse was not able to afford your upkeep? All right. So a couple of things with this. This question attempts to have the claimant spill the beans, if you will, on why they are ultra picky about which jobs they are willing to take on and which jobs they're willing to stay at, and if they quit the job, if they get fired from the job, etc. So ultimately, it's a trick question. And it's a really bad one. It's a trick question of epic proportion, because if you say no, it means you are able to work the jobs, because you're like, no, I don't want to work those jobs. Well, and the question, just to read it again, would you be quitting these jobs if your spouse was not able to afford your upkeep? And if you said, no, I wouldn't quit them, then boom, they've got you. You can work, right? You can repetitively, continuously work. You wouldn't have quit those jobs because you didn't have financial security as a result of your spouse. Cool. If you say yes, then you need to back it up with why you can't perform the functions of those jobs on a daily, full-time basis. And when you only have quits, like where you're quitting the job, 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 then what happens is, bottom line, unfortunately, you end up in this situation where the judge won't believe you. The judge will think you're being disingenuous, because if you quit all those jobs, let's call it like it is, the judge isn't going to think that the jobs were going to fire you anyways, because you kept quitting them over and over and over again. Remember to like and subscribe. Question number 4. What effort have you taken beyond filling out a job request form online to find alternative work? I hate hearing this question in hearings. I hate hearing it in hearings. My claimants, I don't usually run it with them as like a template question because, to be honest with you, it doesn't pop up a lot. But when it does, it's like a damn bulldozer to the claim. One more time. What effort have you taken beyond filling out a job request form online to find alternative work? I hate this question. Low level work versus high level jobs. Remember those two. You got low level work. Here's your mop. Here's your what you call it, your shovel, and then you have high level work, executive work, managerial work. Okay. You can't, as a poor person, drive all over the place if you are poor to do a zillion interviews. It doesn't work that way. You don't have the fuel money, you don't have the car, you don't have the insurance, you don't even probably have a license. So it's not fair to be like, well, you got to just keep, you got to keep hitting that, lay those blocks, get out there, da 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 da. So when somebody's really poor, the expectation that they can go to all these different job interviews is unrealistic. Okay. A lot of them end up like here, and then they get lower, and then they get lower, and then they get to a spot where there's just not a recovery situation. They can sometimes get a shower at a local homeless place. They live in their car, but they don't have the ability to buy all this fuel to go get a job at all these different locations. And usually they'll have a kid with them. What do you do with the kid when you're at work? Do you leave them in the car the whole time? Do you let them come into the store while you're working at the store? Next one. So here's the deal. The SSA system looks at all jobs available in every state. Imagine how unethical it is, right, as a program, to expect someone to move out of their state for a low-paying job. Old school truck driver, super thank you for the $5 donation. I super duper appreciate that. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Really, really love that. Also, the moderators in here, which is amazing. That's super cool. Yeah, we're super close to 100,000 subscribers, which is amazing, which is absolutely incredible, guys. We're actually probably during this month, or maybe early next month, or maybe around Christmas, or I say the Christian holidays because a lot of people don't know the Jewish holidays. But bottom line is, I think probably end of this month or beginning of next month, we're probably going to hit 100K subscribers, which is a massive, massive moment because you get this little, gray plaque, which I've heard is really bad now and not that impressive. But that's okay. That's okay. So imagine saying, as a legal standard, we have a poor person. The poor person has, let's say, $2,000 to the name. They've got a full tank of gas. They have a car. They have no place to live at this point, right? And we say to them, well, as the Social Security Administration, we feel very strongly that in Alaska, there is a fine-looking price checker job that you could do at a grocery store. Yes, sir. Drive there. Now, let alone the person would not have the fuel to be able to get there. They'd have to go through Canada to get there. So the ironic thing is the system is broken. The system should be based on what does the state that they currently live in offer, or what does the state and the states that are touching that state currently offer. Okay. Of course, that's unfair when you have a state like Florida because there's not that many states touching it. Well, no, there still is. There's still enough states touching it. But the point is, when you get a state that's kind of like Maine, right? Maine's all the way up in the corner. But the point is, there needs to be a better system about where the jobs are available. Because saying there could be any job in the national economy that this person could potentially do, it's insanity. It's insanity that we would expect a poor person to move to Hawaii by using dolphins that they string together and put their flip-flops and glue them to the back. And of course, that would be animal abuse. That would be a terrible thing, a horrible thing, and still make it to Hawaii to go ahead and work as a checkout person at the local CVS. All right. It's just unimaginable. It doesn't make sense, but that's the standard that they use. Question number 5. And please remember to like and subscribe. Here we go. Question number 5. When was the last time that you had a date night with your partner? Now, this question is just downright a mean, dirty question. It's not a fair question, but it comes up and it can be phrased many ways. Any one of these questions can be phrased another way. What's another one is, when was the last time that you had fun? When was the last time you enjoyed your hobby? When was the last time you and your husband, bought something together? Any one of those are very, very snarky, tricky questions, and they're not good. I think they're honestly into that unethical territory, but they're going to ask them because they want to know, when did you go on that cruise, right? That's what they want to know. All right, here we go. So the bottom line is this. When was the last time that you had a date night with your partner? Okay. Only pre-alleged onset date answers make it through this one. So what is a alleged onset date? Okay, so when you file and when you're found disabled, right? The process of being found disabled right here. Filed and found disabled. Only before you filed are acceptably good answers to say that you had fun. Like, so long as between you file and you found disabled, you're not going on Carnival cruises or some other, fun jet ski adventure. This is a better answer. Now, this gets sloppy when you're seeking retroactive benefits on top of it, going before you filed, right? When you go farther back in time, it gets a little sloppy. So you have to be careful of that. But the point is, when you start getting in between when you file and when you're found disabled into this period right here, that is a tricky situation. That is a potential problem. Let's go through this real quick. So the details about the cruise that you went on and the movie theater that you went to with that movie and the jazz club, they all come out, right? It's so sneaky. It's like asking, when was the last time you had fun? What did you do while you were having fun? Except it's hidden behind a blanket, because you don't realize that because your brain is thinking about your spouse at the moment and not where the trick question is going, you get stuck answering because you're thinking, yeah, I had fun with my spouse. It was a great time. I was super duper duper. Bottom line is, you've just put yourself in a really, really negative situation, because now you're feeding to the judge potentially that you 5 months ago were essentially on a cruise or at a dock somewhere, getting onto a boat, or at a picnic, or riding a horse, or basically cooking on the countryside, overlooking the fields of whatever. That's the problem with that question, is that your brain automatically goes, oh, what was I doing with my husband? What was I doing with my wife? What was I doing on that day? And then they're just like, great, yeah, what'd you do? Oh, tell me about that. Wow, did you have fun? What'd you cook? Did it go well? Did you enjoy the dinner? Did you go out after that? What'd you do? And then all of a sudden, you're getting wrapped up in all this, and you're just like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm rocking around. You should never feel that good during a disability hearing. You should never feel that good during a disability hearing. Ever, ever. No evsies, ever. Never. You should never be that jazzed. When you're sitting there like, yeah, it's going amazing. Super dupe. This is great. No, the rules of going to a bar apply. If you sit at the bar and you're not like a 10 out of 10, like super gorgeous model, and somebody walks up to you and they're like really into you, there's a problem. There's a problem. And let me explain. That is a linear and consistent or even parallel problem to the issue we're looking at right now, which is that you should never be feeling like the judge is that interested in that cruise you went on. You should never be like, oh, the judge is really loving this claim because I'm talking about that time I went skiing. Oh, it was so amazing. Just remember that. All right. Anyways, I will catch you guys at the next video. The next video is a serious one, but I'm going to share with you a secret that is not on YouTube in any place at all. Now, this video was about Social Security disability insurance benefits, tough questions you might have in a Social Security hearing. This video was about supplemental security income disability benefits, the tough questions you might have in front of an administrative law judge. Okay. The next one is just on SSI, and it's scary stuff. So I want you to understand the next video, really big, really scary. Okay. Now, with that said, I see 83 likes. Remember to use your like finger. It's not going to fall off, I promise, although I can't actually promise that. You have a wonderful night. Excuse me. Remember to like, subscribe, click the all button. Bottom line is, I love waking up to those reviews. You go to Google, you type in Disability Resolution Florida or Disability Resolution Law Firm. Bottom line, if you need a disability attorney, you know who to call. I'll catch you a little bit later, and we will go from there. All right, guys, I'll see you at the next video. Give me about 5 minutes. All right, I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.